On October 28, 2010, Liang Congjie, one of the founders of Friends of Nature and the godfather of China's environmental movement, passed away at the age of 78. Liang Congjie, born on August 4, 1932, in Beijing, was a Chinese historian. He was best known for his work as an environmental activist who established China's first governmental recognized environmental organization, Friends of Nature, in 1994. Liang Congjie was born with a heavy burden. He bore an illustrious family name. Both his paternal grandfather and his father having made history in China as catalysts in their respective eras. His grandfather, Liang Qichao, was a journalist, a Confucian scholar, and a reformist. He was famous for his attempt to establish a Chinese republic in 1898. This idea was profoundly influential and helped to shape most of China's 20th century political thinkers. Mr. Liang's father, Liang Sicheng, was an architect and professor in Tsinghua University, born in Japan and graduating from the University of Pennsylvania. After he came back to China, he began an unsuccessful campaign to save Beijing's ancient city wall and to preserve the historic character of its old city. Because both Liang's parents studied in the United States, they followed the Western liberal and democratic style of parenting. Mr. Liang was much influenced by democratic thoughts. Although his parents were well educated, he did not receive a good education when he was young because of the World War II. In 1950, he attended Tsinghua University and studied history there. He planned to get a PhD degree in Peking University, but failed because of the chaos arising from the movement known as the Great Leap Forward. In 1958, he moved to Kunming to teach with his wife. He worked as a lecturer at Yunnan University. His wife spoke English fluently and worked as an interpreter in Yunnan Academy. In 1966, when the Cultural Revolution broke out, Mr. Liang was accused of being a counter-revolutionary because he was the son of a number one reactionary academic authority, Liang Sicheng, and the grandson of a number one monarchist, Liang Qichao. When Cultural Revolution ended, he returned to Beijing and continued his teaching career in Peking University. In 1990s, he became aware of China's environmental problems when he was an editor of Encyclopedia Knowledge. After he retired, he established Friends of Nature. In terms of how Mr. Liang came up with an idea of establishing an environmental organization in China, he said, "We knew from television about Greenpeace, but there wasn't anything like that in China. My friends and I began wondering, why not here? We decided to try." Unlike Greenpeace, which is known for its aggressive tactics and high-profile protests, Friends of Nature took a low-key approach, generally choosing to urge the national government to use the existing law to address environmental issues. It established the nation's first bird-watching group and recently focused on environmental education in primary school in Western China. Friends of Nature's first big battle was to save endangered golden monkey in Yunnan province. Mr. Liang wrote a letter to the central government and called the attention of the print and broadcast media to the issue. China Vice Premier Zhu Rongji gave the issue his personal endorsement. The media came out in support of Friends of Nature, as did green clubs in the country's universities. 30 students, journalists, and ecologists set out on a large march to save the golden monkey's habitat. Friends of Nature also coordinated a letter-writing campaign that forced the government to ban further logging. Friends of Nature also worked to stop the hunting of a rare Tibetan antelope. The Tibetan antelope is highly valued for the fur taken from its neck and processed in India into silk fine wool. This silk fine wool is exported to Europe at a very high price. For money, hunters kill the anti-poaching patrols in the region. Although the region is very dangerous, Liang Congjie was not afraid. He climbed a mountain that was 4,000 meters high to save antelopes when he was already 67 years old. When Britain's Prime Minister Tony Blair visited China in October 1998, Mr. Liang wrote him a letter asking him to stop illegal fur trade of antelopes and warning that if poaching continued at the present rate of 20,000 antelope killed each year for their fur, the species will be extinct within 20 years. Liang Congjie was the first generation of environmentalists in China, and the first environmentalist worked in conjunction with the government on a constructively critical basis to build support for protecting the environment. He promoted ordinary Chinese people concerning more about environmental issues and participating in environmental activities. Over 3,000 environmental non-governmental organizations were established by following his lead. In 2000, he won the Roman Magsaysay Award, which organizes Asian contribution to public service. Although he leaves us, his spirit has been rooted deeply in many Chinese people's minds. China's environmental movements began with his birth, but will not end with his death.